When Emily Carter first moved to San Diego, she didn't know a soul. She had left behind a small town in Nebraska, along with her parents, a few loyal friends, and a life that had grown too predictable. She had taken a job as a UX designer for a mid-sized tech company and moved into a one-bedroom apartment that overlooked the beach. The view was beautiful, but the silence echoed. The loneliness crept in quietly, like a slow tide. After work, Emily would return to her place, make dinner for one, and scroll mindlessly through her phone. On weekends, she walked the beach alone or browsed bookstores just to feel like part of the world. She wasn't sad necessarily, but she felt unanchored. That all began to change the day she met Marcus Bennett. Marcus wasn't flashy. He wasn't someone you'd immediately notice in a crowd. He had an easygoing smile, wore vintage t-shirts like he'd owned them for years, and had a voice that made people stop talking and start listening. They met in the break room at work. Emily was pouring her third cup of coffee, and Marcus was trying to fix the ancient microwave that had finally given up. "You ever think this microwave is just crying for help?" Marcus joked, tapping the side gently. Emily laughed. "That or it's staging a rebellion. Either way, I think it's done." He looked up at her and smiled. "I'm Marcus. New here." She nodded. "Emily. Just moved from Nebraska last month. Welcome to California. The coffee's mediocre, but the sun makes up for it." It was a simple exchange, but it planted a seed. Over the following weeks, they started bumping into each other more often, during lunch breaks, office meetings, or while entering the building. Emily found herself drawn to Marcus's energy. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He listened when others spoke and never interrupted. He remembered things she said, like how she missed her mother's Sunday dinners or how she had a fear of ocean waves because of an incident in her childhood. That level of attention was rare. Psychologically, the best people in your life often aren't the loudest or most dramatic. They are consistent. They make you feel safe to be vulnerable. Emily started to realize that with Marcus, she could just be herself. Awkward, chatty, emotional, thoughtful. There was no need to perform or impress. He didn't just hear her. He understood her. One Thursday evening, after a long day filled with back-to-back meetings, Marcus knocked on the door of her apartment. He held a box of tacos and a worn-out DVD. "I figured you could use a break from being amazing," he said with a grin. They sat on the floor, watched a classic movie, and talked about everything, from childhood dreams to the things they feared. Emily hadn't opened up like that in a long time. There was something about Marcus that bypassed her defenses. In psychology, emotional safety is one of the most crucial components of healthy relationships. The best person in your life will create that space effortlessly. They don't judge your past, nor do they pressure you into the future. They exist with you fully in the present moment. Emily and Marcus never rushed anything. Over the months, their friendship deepened. They supported each other through work stress, minor health scares, and late-night anxieties. Marcus would check in just because he had a feeling, and he always seemed to show up when she needed someone. And Emily found herself doing the same for him, instinctively, without obligation. One night, as they walked the shoreline, shoes in hand and feet in the cold water, Marcus turned to her. "Do you think we meet people for a reason?" Emily nodded. "I used to believe everything was random. But not anymore." He looked at her, a softness in his eyes. "You changed a lot for me. Made me slow down. Made me want to be better. You make me feel like I'm not weird for feeling too much," she said. "That's rare. Psychologists often say the best people in your life won't try to fix you. They'll see you. Truly see you and still stay. They'll ask how you are and wait for the real answer. They'll make space for your storms and still offer calm. They don't compete or manipulate. They uplift. And more importantly, they let you do the same for them." Months later, when Marcus's father fell ill, Emily was the first person he called. She flew with him to Boston without hesitation. She sat with him in hospital rooms, brought him coffee, and distracted him with stories about her high school theater days. That trip, though difficult, solidified something unspoken between them. As they boarded the flight back to San Diego, Marcus took her hand. "I know I've said thank you 100 times, but I don't think I've said the one thing I've been meaning to." Emily looked at him, heart beating faster. "I love you," he said simply. She squeezed his hand. "I know. I love you too." Love, according to research, isn't just chemistry. It's comfort, trust, shared silence, and mutual effort. It's showing up again and again, not just in grand moments, but in ordinary ones. The best person in your life will do the small things with great care. They moved in together a few months later. Their apartment was filled with books, plants, mismatched mugs, and laughter. They didn't always agree, and life wasn't perfect, but the respect was unwavering. They communicated openly, even during disagreements. They grew, together and as individuals. The years rolled on. They adopted a rescue dog named Benny, took road trips to hidden spots, and built a life rooted in understanding. Their love wasn't loud, but it was deep. Friends who visited often remarked on how peaceful their home felt. Marcus once told a friend, "Being with Emily taught me that love doesn't have to burn to be real. Sometimes the warmest fire is the one that never flickers." When Emily's mother passed away unexpectedly, Marcus held her through the grief, cancelled his meetings to be with her, and reminded her that healing wasn't linear. He didn't offer clichés. He just stayed. And that's one of the clearest signs, psychologists say, of someone who's meant to be in your life. They don't run when things get hard. They lean in. They don't always know what to say, but they show up, and in doing so, say everything that matters. Years later, Emily stood beside Marcus as they watched Benny run along the same beach they'd once walked on as friends. She smiled at him, her heart full. "If I ever write a book," she said, "I'll dedicate it to you." He grinned. "Why's that?" "Because you taught me what love is supposed to feel like. Steady. Soft." He wrapped an arm around her. "You did the same for me." In the end, the best person in your life won't necessarily be the one who's there for the grand gestures. They'll be the one who notices your silence, respects your space, listens with intent, and never makes you feel like you're too much or not enough. They'll challenge you to grow, not by pushing you, but by standing beside you. Psychology confirms that the human brain responds deeply to consistent emotional security. And when you find someone who offers that without needing anything in return, who mirrors your best self back to you, you found something rare. Emily and Marcus weren't perfect, but they were perfect for each other. And in that, they found not just love, but home.